Hello.
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 Wow.
How are you?
This is pure art.
Yes.
No, it has to focus. Okay, cool. Hi.
Hey, hi there.
How are you doing?
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hi, Marcel.
Nice to
How
see
doing?
you.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah. What are we doing here?
So we are here with Dad, Senior, and Junior, the original VOX UL730 and the Doctor Robert pedal, our second creation.
The real thing.
The real thing and the real thing too. So here we are.
Yeah.
As we promised, we're going to do a comparison between the original thing and many different amplifiers. We brought divided by 13. I don't know the exact model of that one.
I don't know either.
But it's a good one.
Yeah.
It seems
and
to.
it's powerful.
And also this guy right here, which is a JMI. We're going to tell a little bit about JMI later. And Fender Twin Reverb. In fact, the JMI, it's like an AC30. It's exactly an AC30. Yeah. And we brought the Twin Reverb just to, have different flavors and just to...
But what would we do exactly? What's the idea? I mean, of all this.
The overall idea is to compare different settings of the VOX UL730, the original one, serial number 3042.
3012.
3012, almost. Yeah. And the Dr. Robert plugged into different amplifiers, and we're going to be doing...
You want me to play? Or?
Yes, I want you to play your best riffs.
But what are we going to do? So we're going to try the amplifiers, the other amplifiers, apart from this, without the pedal.
Yes.
And with the pedal on.
Exactly.
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah. But first, we're going to talk about a little bit of history of the Dr. Robert.
Yeah.
Many things have been said about this pedal by us and by many other people. But I'm sure we have so many things we have to tell.
A lot.
So that's your time.
What do you want me to say? About anything in particular?
Anything
amplifiers, guitars, clothes?
Well, can you tell me a little bit of the story of this one?
Yeah, well, it's funny because I started being quite obsessed with this great album here. I mean, I love all of the records, but this one I found it quite weird. The electric guitar sound, and I investigate for a while, and then I found this Facebook group. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, it's called GMI Ears Box, the GMI Ears, and then I asked what's the sound, because I was thinking in the riff of Paperback Writer. Yeah. She said, and I don't know, I was wondering, is that a fast pedal? Yeah. Maybe the pep box or the tone bender. Yeah. But then a couple of guys that knew already about it, they told me about this rare box series, which is the UL series. This one in particular is the 30 watts. That's why it's 730.
Yeah, 7 for the series, guitar series, and 30 for the wattage. Yeah.
7 for guitar and 4 for
400
bass.
for bass. Yeah.
Which I have to say, this is the 730, and this cabinet here is 4 series. It's
it's a 212.
Supposed to be for bass. So someone is calling. Should
you should
answer?
Perhaps it's your mother.
Yeah.
We have to ask you for questions. If you have any comments, just write it in the chat, and I'm gonna read it, and we're gonna comment it. Yep.
So, and this part, we are just in 5 minutes or so. We were checking out if everything is all right.
Levels,
if you are
volumes,
listening properly, and let us know if you are all right. Where are you from? That would be great to start asking some questions.
No comments.
No comments at the moment. Okay, you don't want to talk?
But doesn't matter.
All right.
So you were telling me about this is a 730 head.
Yes.
But 400 series cabinet.
Yeah, this was supposed to be for bass, but sounds amazing.
Yeah,
also
it sounds
with,
amazing.
With the
And
guitar.
did they have the same speakers? No, right?
I believe they are the same type, the same Alnico, Celestion Alnico with a box label.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the supposed to be the same type. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And can you tell me a little bit about the story of getting one of those?
Yeah, you know a little bit about it.
Yeah, I know a little bit, yeah.
That's a long story. We've have to talk a little bit about it other times, but yeah, it was like one of the most difficult things that that I've done in my life, and at the end, most satisfying because, well, when I learned about this amplifier, I also learned that it was really, really hard to find one because they are very expensive. And also because at that moment you couldn't find any.
Yeah.
Any. There weren't any available online. Right now you can find some at ridiculous prices. You can check now at Reverb or
like,
whatever.
For example?
We are talking about 11, 12, 13, something like that.
Euros or dollars or...
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is quite a lot. But you have to think that this is one of the rarest box amplifiers.
And even rarest amps ever.
Yeah, because you have to think that only like 100 were produced. And the interesting fact is that Vox later on, they knew exactly how many produced and also how many they destroyed, which is quite amazing, because you have to think that this was 1966 and probably this was a prototype. They were like trying different things. In this case, this is one of the first examples, probably not the first one, but the first to be hybrid. So you have solid state with the tube amplifier. And I think this is one of the main characteristics of its sound.
It is.
It's really make it really special.
And that's one of the main reasons we can make a pretty close replica of the sound, because many of the nuances and tone characteristics are created or generated on the preamp, which is solid state, so it's easy to reproduce on a pedal, which is what we've done. Yeah.
So I made a little bit of research through the internet, and I had also a bad experience dealing with not very friendly and fair buyers. Sellers, sorry. And I was at the end, I mean, in the middle of all this, I was like exhausted of looking for the amplifier and dealing with this, which was really like bad vibes. And when I was really losing interest in this project, I found one in a Facebook group, well, not Facebook group, in a Facebook ad somewhere in France. And yeah, that's I contacted this guy, and he was very friendly. We agreed a price quickly, and I think it was a good price. Now I think it was a really good price. And so,
can we tell the price we paid?
Well, to be honest, I don't really remember exactly, but must be something in
4,000?
No, less than 4.
Less than 1,000?
I think a bit more than 3 or something like that.
It was a bargain.
Yeah, it was a bargain. Yeah.
And a thing that many people well, we haven't told this, but this cabinet, it didn't came with the head.
No.
We bought the cabinet aside from the head.
That's another story, yeah.
In fact, we bought the cabinet to the scammer, right? Or
from this guy. I don't want to say
an English guy.
His name, an English guy.
We love English people, but not that guy.
We do. I think this guy is pretty well known in this business for not being too fair, you know. And so I was supposed to to receive this cabinet with a head.
But a 7 series or 4 series?
He told me it was the 730, and what I received was a cabinet which was a 4 series, but no head. And later on, looking at the pictures, because I wasn't really an expert back then, I'm not now, but a little bit more. So I realized that was even the amplifier. Was
the one picked on the pictures?
Yeah.
It wasn't that one.
No, the one in the picture was that, but he claimed to be a 730, and it was a 430 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't receive the head. I received only the cabinet, and luckily I paid through PayPal. So we got our money back, and
so we got some
it
questions.
didn't end that bad. So so you guys are there with us. Let us know if you want to ask us any questions.
Yeah, we have a question from Modicon. I have the Windmiller and the Dr. Robert. Congratulations. How we combine them in the pedal line? I use the VOX AC 1500 watt and a Rickenbacker 330. So, well, my recommendation will be to use the Windmiller, the first one in the chain. So that's the guitar and the cable, the Windmiller, and then the Dr. Robert just after the Windmiller, or after compression and fuzz and perhaps modulations even. That will sound, a bit grittier with more harmonics. I like that combination, but especially the Windmiller, it likes to see the guitar, the guitar signal straight into it. No buffers, no pedals in between. Yeah, that's a question. Subro Pontes, no question, just a big thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I always loved the UL730, and I could never find nor afford one. So that's my point. I keep my Dr. Robert always on, and I absolutely love it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Suro.
you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. So, well, we've got the UL730
in France. Yeah,
we got one.
He
was a nice guy.
Yeah, a nice guy.
Yeah, we did a road trip. We picked up some, 2 guys.
Yeah, I mean, after this bad experience I decided that I better go and pick it up in person. So we went along with Marc, and that was a fantastic trip, listening to music.
Yeah.
And
we picked up 2 auto stoppers in a gas station.
Yeah. Where
they
was
were
that?
from Turkey, right? Or
no, I think they were. Well, I mean, in my memory, they are French, but I could be wrong.
No, they weren't French and they weren't Spanish.
Okay, they were Turkey then. Turkish.
But I don't know if they were Turkish. Well, from the Far East.
Let's say Turkey.
Yeah,
Turkey. Yeah. So
Europeans, at least. And we got the amp, and then we brought it back to Barcelona. We restored it, and then we analyzed the circuits. We had the schematics that were running online on the internet, and they weren't exactly the same as the real thing. Perhaps, this is one of the first ones, because serial number is 42.
You never know, because these things could be prototypes.
Yeah, perhaps the schematic wasn't the last revision or whatever. We don't know. But the thing is that this one wasn't exactly the same as the schematic. In fact, they had many differences. So we traced the schematic out of the original amplifier, and we started from that. Yeah,
and it's really interesting, because according to the VOX showroom website, which is run by North Coast Music, so 76 were destroyed. So right now, this is one of the 20-somethings, 26 or 26 left.
Wow.
So
we're lucky, and you're lucky too that we did the Dr. Robert.
Yeah, and let us know your opinion, your real opinion about this amplifier. I mean, it's that good?
To be honest,
you don't like it? No? Okay,
my first impressions were like, this is garbage.
Yeah, well, in fact, I remember you were saying, this is shit.
This is shit. But because I wasn't that much into that records.
Yeah, but probably when you realize that also people like Jimmy Page played
Yeah.
with this amplifier, and this is interesting because if you have a look on the internet, you will find that in some interviews, Jimmy Page was claiming that in the second record, I think,
Yeah.
he was using a Super Beetle box.
Yeah.
But in the photos, you can see clearly which is this amplifier
Yeah.
here, the 730.
Well, we don't know if it's a 730 or
I think
you.
it's pretty clear. Well, at least. At
Oh,
least to me.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, because the layout, it's pretty similar from the 730 to the 760 to the 7120.
Yeah, they are almost the same. I mean, yeah.
But do you know the size of the heads? Is
I think it's
the actual cabinet is
I
different?
think it's a little bit bigger. Maybe some of you know this
Yeah.
and can let
perhaps
us know.
we can check it. Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I told you this was pure garbage.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then
You told me.
I redirected my opinion. So yeah,
You know, one of the things I found really difficult, especially speaking in English. By the way, I'm sorry if
sorry
my
for our
is
English.
not that great. You
Yeah.
have to think that I normally speak in Catalan or Spanish, but I think I think in Catalan, and then I translate
have
it
to
into
translate.
Spanish and then into English.
Wow, so many
So it's
things
free.
running.
And I'm not that fast normally, so
Okay.
you know. But anyway, what I was saying.
About Jimmy Page and the UL730, that you were convinced that he used a 730.
And what I was trying to say that I'm not that good talking about describing the sound to me.
Yeah. Mhm.
I find it difficult even in my language, but in English is more difficult. So how would you describe it, and how would you guys describe it if you have the Dr. Robert, if you have heard Revolver album, which I'm sure you do.
It's not a common tone. It doesn't sound anything like a Marshall or another Vox. Even the other solid state ones like the Conqueror, Defiant, and there was another one. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Well, I think they had 3 models.
Yeah.
Or even those Super Beatles, the AC-15 and AC-100. It has its own character. That's what it bothered me on the first instance. But then when you start playing it and comparing with the actual songs of the Beatles, it's like, wow, this is the thing. It's the tone. Obviously, the tone is on the hands. I'm sorry. So
also in the studio, you have to think they were recording at Abbey Road with great
white
gear.
recording equipment.
Yeah. But I mean, we were really, really surprised. Like this is it.
Yeah,
yes.
Especially with Marcel, he's a great connoisseur of the Beatles tones and songs.
I'm a bit of a fanatic.
Yeah, he's a bit of a fanatic.
Yeah.
And so we knew that this was a thing, and then we started making some prototypes. I don't know where's the first prototype. We did a very big one with a turret board, just to replicate it to every detail to this one. And then we started, downsizing it into this version. But it was like a year and a half.
No, more, I think more than that.
Oh, really?
From now.
No. The design process.
Yeah.
It was like a year and a half since we got this one to the actual production unit.
That could be.
We tried many things. We tried even a tube inside of it, FETs, MOSFETs, BJTs, transistors. Many different things to replicate the tone of the preamp and the saturation of the power stage. Because you have to know that this Vox series, the tone, the characteristics get generated on the preamp as many amps or many pedals, and then the saturation, it comes from the power stage. So we had to replicate both things. And I think we have more questions. Sound Propeller Patrick. I also wanted to thank you. Thank you very much. I'm a 50s from Seattle, which is a lifelong obsession with Revolver and the sounds, especially songs like She Said, and Your Bird Can Sing, and Dr. Robert. Yes. Your English is much better than my Spanish. Well, so you have to learn a little bit. Thank you, man. JTS 3339. does the UL730 have a mid-range boost like some other Vox amps? And do you use an inductor to emulate the tone of the Dr. Robert? No. The VOX UL730, it's kind of a transition between the AC series and the solid state series, like the Conqueror and the Defiant. And no, the mid-range boost found on the solid state series, it's not found on this amp. What's special about this mid-range control on the Vox, it's that it's separated from the rest of the EQ. So speaking in circuit blocks, there's a gain stage, mid-range boost, a volume control, which is this one, which is the gain knob on the Dr. Robert, then gain stage recovery, then bass and treble, and then it goes to the power stage. So it reacts in a different way. In fact, it affects a lot to the gain. If you put the mid knob counterclockwise, there's much less gain and the tone gets cleaner. And then if you turn it fully clockwise, there's a lot of mid-range, a lot of gain. It's really interesting. For me, it's the heart of the pedal, you know, where all the magic happens. Yeah, we'll get into that in a few minutes. Yeah. More questions. I had my Dr. Robert for a while and I love it. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, so, I was trying to say that I'm really bad trying to describe sound, but to me, the feeling that I always have with this amp, it's quite powerful. I mean, it's really like could be like a rock amp.
Yeah.
I mean, you will see in a few minutes, or you will listen. But also there is this like kind of cold part to me. I see kind of two stages of sound, which is obviously the solid state makes a difference. And to me, this cold kind of sound and with the combination of the tubes really make that something special.
Yeah, it's like hitting you know, a high fidelity tube power amp with a solid state booster. It's this kind of thing, you know, it really, you know, it hits hard on the tubes, and that gets translated into the speakers. You know, it's, you know, when we were setting up this you know, this video, we try to emulate the tone of the VOX UL730 with this many different amps, and you know, it has its own thing, and I think it's a thing about the speakers too. You know, but the saturation, it's like sharp. I can describe it.
I would say it's sharp too. Yeah.
Yeah. So shall we demo a little bit?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. Oh, sorry. Fuck.
So we start with the real thing, right?
Yes. This is the VOX UL730. This is the Dr. Robert in a similar setup, mids on 5, treble and bass at noon too, and the volume middle with the VOX AC15. Well, AC30, well, it's a JMI, but it's exactly the same.
I like that choreography.
Yeah.
Really spontaneous.
It's a panning. It's a panning. So, well, I don't know how it sounds there, but you know, in a live situation when you have the amp in front of you, it's like there's some kind of sharp clipping. I don't know, perhaps it's from the speakers. We don't know, perhaps it's from the output transformer. But we tried to replicate when designing the Doctor Robert was to emulate, obviously, the saturation, but also the behavior of this. I don't know if you can see it clearly from there, but this is a mid snap. And when you turn it counterclockwise, it has a very scooped mid sound with a lot of bass and a lot of highs, and also the gain. I don't know the word now.
I don't know. Sorry.
The gain drops exactly. There's a drop in gain, and exactly the opposite happens when you turn the gain. The mids clockwise, and you know, when we're trying with different amps, I think my favorite is obviously a VOX. I don't know if it's because it was designed almost by the same people, but you know,
it also has this bite. I mean, with other amps, maybe you lack that.
Shall we try with a Fender?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
with a Fender, I think you
will understand what we're saying. This is the VOX UL730. It's not the same.
What do you think? What do you guys think?
Yeah, please. Wow, there's a lot of comments.
Yeah. That's good.
Keep talking.
So, blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
you
to
look
me,
so good,
this amplifier also it has like an aggressivity, but in a good way. It's really different from the type of sound you can get with Marshall, a Plexi type, which is great. I love it. It's more like a rounded sound. Again, I don't know much about talking about sounds, but I would say the overdriven sound you get is like more rounded. Here is quite aggressive. It has this bite, which can be it's quite aggressive. Now is this one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not the same. It's different. It's another kind of flavor.
So you're saying that you don't like it?
I wouldn't use a twin reverb with this pedal. It's not gonna be my first choice. But in fact, a deluxe reverb, much better one.
Yeah.
When we were designing this pedal, we had the deluxe reverb, and I think we didn't have the VOX AC30 on the first months.
No, not that.
We just had the deluxe reverb.
Yeah. No, the deluxe reverb, and the other one we have in Hospitalet, the green one.
Mesa
Boogie.
Oh.
Yeah.
We don't have anything.
I don't have it anymore, that Fender.
Yeah, it was yours, yeah. But, you know, with the deluxe reverb, it's brighter, and it has less bass. You know, it has this kind of a special mid-range, and, you know, they fit really well. And with a different flavor than the VOX amps, yeah. You should try Dr. Robert if you have one, or you go to a shop with a deluxe reverb. Yes. So
there's another interesting fact that I wanted to say, that this amplifier here was like fucking expensive back in the '66. Like, was a real luxury, because you have to think that the VOX AC30 was, I have it here, it's 169. Again, you can check this at the VOX showroom site. And so the VOX AC30, 169, and this one was 190 pounds.
190 pounds?
Which was like quite expensive.
So what's the comparison in today's money?
I have that data for you. I have that data for you.
You did your homework,
yes,
mate.
Would be like, you know what? I'm realizing is almost the price we bought this amplifier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like 3,600 and something like that.
There's many amps nowadays that cost more than this. In fact, this,
I don't know. Yeah,
this guy,
or
a
this,
JMI, or this one, divided by 13. It's expensive, but not that much. Having in mind that this was so advanced. You know, a VOX AC30 or AC15, it had just volume.
I don't know how accurate is this. I mean, this is the inflation
calculator,
average calculator. So I don't think it's that.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah, I've checked some.
It's accurate, but I would say a thing like this is not only the inflation. You're talking about historic piece of equipment here. So I don't know. I don't want to talk about the price too much, but you have an idea, right?
Well, what I was trying to say is that this piece of equipment back then was like so advanced. It had 2 channels, 3-band EQ, saturation, and tremolo, reverb. In fact, many of you have asked about the saturation, the distortion inside the VOX UL730.
With this pedal here.
Yeah, we have the pedal, and we can try it, so we can compare it to. And many of you asked why we didn't put the original saturation or fuzz built into the VOX UL730.
Which I love it.
I didn't like that much, but what we found comparing the recordings of the Beatles with the original amp, with the Epiphone Casino and the Gretsch and different guitars, is that our guess is that the more saturation tracks were made, just cranking the amp up, not with the fuzz.
I think they were not using it at all.
Yeah. No, perhaps
the distortion.
Perhaps they did. Perhaps some units sounded better than the others.
Believe me, they didn't. No.
You're 100% sure, right?
No, because when we were also recording the audio clips for our website, we spent like a lot of time comparing this with Jose, which is over there behind, taking care of us with the sound.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Jose. And so we spent a lot of time comparing each part, and my guess is that they didn't use it. They didn't use it at all.
I believe you.
Yeah, you should.
There's some comments.
Okay.
All right. You look so good, guys. Thank you. You've just raised our ego. If you need some help, let me know. We'll let you know. Thank you, Daniel. All right. Which contemporary amps work best with the Dr. Robert to get that reverberant tone? Well, British amp. Yeah, British amps. Marshall, Bluesbreaker, any VOX AC series.
Would you say that it's a matter of the tube configuration?
EL84s with Celestion Greenbacks or Alnico Blues, and yeah, you'll be in business. Yeah. But for example, the Deluxe Reverb, it was a great pair too. So just experiment, but the twin reverb or Vibrolux, big Fender amps, no, not a good match, in my opinion. If you want to nail the tone of the original, you want to get different tones, it's up to you. So, greetings from Vienna. Thank you.
Hey.
Can't wait to get mine. You should. Hard to beat an Epiphone Casino. Yeah, well, it's probably the guitar that they use, right?
We can talk about it later. But basically, I think they use it a lot, the Casino on Revolver. Yeah.
Okay. Comparison with a UL400 4120 and a 7120. Well, bring the amplifiers, and we're gonna do it. Generally speaking,
I didn't get that question because you're saying like,
sorry. Comparison with UL4120 and a 7120. The bass version and the guitar version of the 120 watts amplifier.
Yeah.
We don't know. Well, what we have to say is that in terms of electronic differences, the power amp stage was almost the same. Couple of variations on capacitor values, if I remember, and then on the preamp, almost the same. I think the difference was more in the speakers than on the heads, but that's my guess. That's the only UL series amp that I have tried. So.
Yeah, you have to think also that the Beatles were one of the most documented bands ever, even though we don't know like everything. And I saw that picture of John Lennon recording Paperback Writer, which I thought that he played and recorded the riff. But later on, I realized that he didn't. It was Paul McCartney. And so he was playing with this 7120 Gretsch, amazing guitar, but probably he was playing the rhythm of the song. And there is a photo with John Lennon with a 7120. But probably, I mean, it could have been recorded the riff with 7120 or the other.
Well, we don't know.
But also later on, I found out that the 730 was used a lot on Revolver, of course, but not only for guitar. Paul McCartney was very in love with the amplifier also for the bass. I mean,
okay. But the guitar version.
No, the guitar version, the 730.
Okay.
And also on Sgt. Pepper's
really?
a lot. Guitars and
cool
and bass.
So Johnny Scalps, plug into the vibrato channel and turn it up. Volume matters in the tone of the UL with speakers breakup and tube saturation. Yes, you're right, Johnny. And I don't know exactly why we took the normal channel for the Doctor Robert pedal, but I think it's because it sounded the best. Well, we can try it.
Yeah.
So just a second. EQ at noon on both. Just a second, please.
Yeah. Take your time. I mean, no worries. We are here.
We are not
until,
in a rush, right?
I don't know until what time? 8 o'clock? 9 o'clock? I don't know. Are you available, Jose? No, sorry, no.
So here's the normal channel. On the last part. Wow. And yes, I remember why we used the normal channel, because it had more gain. Yeah, I think that's because of the saturation. That's my guess.
Yeah,
and the vibrato, because
you should ask yourself, but 2 years previously or 3 years previously. When was that?
Yeah, almost 3 years
ask
now.
Yourself.
Yeah. I'm gonna take my DeLorean and ask. Yeah, we used the normal channel because it had more gain, and comparing with those songs like Paperback Writer and Dr. Robert, which had a lot of gain.
And with in this channel, the effects don't work. No, I'm wrong. Only the reverb work.
I think the reverb.
Yeah, maybe.
Shall we try?
Yeah, why not?
Because many of you asked why we didn't put the reverb Because for me, not the best. Because
I like it. I mean,
it's different. It's more like a cavern.
The thing when you talk about reverb, I think normally you're thinking about reverb, Fender reverb.
Yes, exactly.
Which is pretty unbeatable.
With drip, you know?
I mean, I like this because it's different, but well...
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, please.
No, please. I have an interesting story about the reverb on those amps.
Let us know.
Yeah, I think you know it, right? Perhaps. The actual piece on the circuit that creates the reverb effects is a tank with springs inside, and there's a transductor on the beginning of the spring and another transductor on the end of the spring. So the first transductor vibrates, and that vibrates the spring, and then the other transductor captures that vibration, and that's the effect of the reverb, right? So the interesting thing is that Hammond, Hammond from the keyboards, is the greatest manufacturer of spring reverbs. I think they had the patent for a long time, and that's why, because
VOX didn't want to pay.
They didn't want to pay
this fee, which I think was like $1 or something like that.
Yeah, for each. I don't know if they wanted to make their own reverb tank or just buy tanks to Hammond. I don't know exactly, but what they came about it's
just because they didn't want to pay. I mean,
they want to pay anything.
Jennings, they wouldn't pay the fee of the patent.
Guys at VOX were like really cheap. That's why they destroyed many amps.
That is amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah. So they came with another idea. They came with a design, obviously with one spring, one big coiled spring, and two
piezo transductors.
Turntable transductor.
Yeah, but I think they are piezo or something like that.
It works with the piezo technology. A crystal of quartz that creates electricity when it vibrates.
Yeah.
So that's why it sounds really different compared to a Fender reverb, because they didn't want to pay Hammond for a patent. Yeah.
Now it's on. It's supposed to be on, so it must be the other channel then.
All right.
Or the volume is.
It's for it's.
And what about the cable?
It's not plugged. We got some technical issues.
It is.
It's plugged. Okay.
Yeah. Don't make it too loud now.
Okay.
It's like a cavern.
Yeah. It's not the same as a Fender reverb.
No,
obviously.
Not at all.
We thought about it. We thought about making a deluxe version of the Doctor Robert with tremolo and vibrato, which they call, and reverb
and the distortion.
And the distortion. Yes. On the first prototype, there was a distortion, but you can get a lot of decent reverb pedals, but perhaps in the future, just to create the perfect replica of a VOX UL730. So
should we listen to the distortion?
Yes.
Yeah, now you have to change channel. See? That was on, yeah.
And then can we compare it with
without?
Yes.
You have an idea, maybe?
Yeah.
What would you say? Is more like a fuzz or distortion?
Please write it on the comments. Should we do a version
please
with the distortion, and perhaps in the future we make a deluxe version of the Dr. Robert? Hope our boss is not listening to us.
Well, he should. He should.
Okay.
What else?
So let me see more comments.
Yeah, well, should we talk also about the graphics, because this great record in here has like Klaus Wurman signature, and I mean, it's not fake, it's the real thing.
He's so proud.
I'm so proud. I mean, this to me, this is
because
like gold.
You were there when the actual guy signed the record.
That's right. We don't have right now a pedal with a segment pedal.
No. Well, that's another.
We don't have it here, but we have this.
Yeah,
right?
and another thing I would like to tell is that you you actually had the opportunity to meet the guy.
Exactly.
Klaus Wurman, and he went to get that record signed and to get some pedals signed, and we have to thank our boss, and especially two members of the Aclam team, Marta and David, which gave us as a present to each one of the team an actual Dr. Robert signed by Klaus Wurman. And in fact, there's some which, or I think one has been raffled. I'm
not sure. Maybe Marta can let us know.
Yeah, please.
Marta, write us.
But yeah, we are so proud that we have a Dr. Robert actually signed by Klaus Wurman, and it made us like really happy. I think it was like Christmas. We did a dinner or something.
Wow.
And you didn't tell me anything.
No, because
it was a secret.
It was a secret. But it has. I mean, it was one of the greatest experience in my life. I mean, I was like over the moon, having the chance to actually meet the man himself, Klaus Wurman.
He's not Paul McCartney, though.
No, but he's a really important person in all the Beatles story, and he has an amazing career as a musician,
in fact,
producer,
I think he recorded,
designer.
I think he recorded like "Take a Walk on the Wild Side."
I think not sure about that. I mean, he worked with Lou Reed as well, and he recorded even with B.B. King. No, he's saying no.
Jose is saying no.
But he did something with Lou Reed. Okay, not who was that?
I don't remember the name.
All right.
It's an English guy. A German guy.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Marta is saying a couple of them had been raffled or sold. I don't know, but there's a couple of them around the world which they don't belong to any of the Aclam team.
Yeah. So
you met the guy.
I met the guy. I had the opportunity to travel to Frankfurt when you had the real.
Frankfurt? Not Hamburg.
No, not Hamburg. It was Frankfurt.
Is he handsome?
Yeah, I think. I mean, he's right now must be 81 or 82. He's a really good-looking guy. Still, I mean, he was very good-looking in the 60s, and still is very good-looking. I mean, he's looking healthy, and he's a very bright guy, very friendly. I have to say, when I was speaking by phone with him, he wasn't that friendly, I would say, even through the email. I mean, a bit like,
how did you get in touch with him?
I mean, I wrote an email to him, to his website, because I think the first contact I had is because we bought that amazing drawing, which is like kind of a version of this revolver. I think he drew that one over there in the late 90s, I would say, or early 2000. And so I was saying that at the beginning, I had the feeling he wasn't very friendly, but I had the opportunity to actually meet him, and it was an amazing experience, because I tried to hide that I was I am a Beatle freak. Or
you were
complete
shaking
geek.
on the
But
inside.
I was asking him questions, all right? And the good thing is that he was answering them. Yeah. And
any in particular? Anyone in particular?
Yeah, well, I remember that I asked him like, when were they when you actually came with the cover, and what were their thoughts about it? And so he was invited to Abbey Road, and they met at the canteen of Abbey Road. They were having some tea and eating some fish and chips or whatever they have.
What they ate in
And
England.
so at the beginning, they showed them the cover, which was in this exact size, in the exact
So
size
he drew the cover on this.
It's not exactly. It's a mixture of drawing and collage, because some of them are real photos. One interesting fact, like you see their eyes, the eyes of the four Beatles members, like Paul, Ringo, and John. Are drawn.
Yes.
Dibujados.
Yeah, they're drawn.
Yes.
And those are pictures.
Those are pictures.
Oh.
Yeah. Because he couldn't get it right, and so he decided to use like a photo, and it really worked.
Wow.
So he was there, and they were very friendly because they were friends from Hamburg some years before. I think they met at the end of the 50s, 59 or early 60s, and they were good friends there. So he showed them the cover, and they were really impressed. I mean, all of them. And Brian Epstein, their manager, was there, and he was apparently like shocked, and he went like away for a minute, like, oh my God, oh, this is. Wow.
Yeah, they were impressed.
And
right?
he was, and I mean, I'm talking about Brian Epstein now. I mean, the Beatles all loved it. I mean, but Brian Epstein seemed to have a problem with it. And
really?
So later on, Klaus went there and, sorry, Brian, there's something wrong with this. And he said, it's beautiful. It's amazing. I love it. I mean, you have done a great work, and thank you very much.
And he got paid like
nothing. Not a lot. I mean, but it was like the usual thing back then. Well, even now.
Yeah. So in today's money,
yeah, I don't know, like £30 or something.
Which is kind of like
down.
1,000,
Yeah.
or even less.
Yeah.
£600 or something.
We
like
were saying no.
You can check it on the internet. £30 in 1965, 66.
Yeah, it was. I mean, no, not a good amount, but of course, it was like a big prestige to make history. And I find it really interesting. I mean, you have to think that this is 1966, the colorful year, pre-hippie years.
Well, look at the next cover.
But this is in black and white.
Yeah.
So it's quite shocking, and you have to think. You have to put your mind
on that situation.
And this was very
groundbreaking. Yeah.
Groundbreaking. Yeah.
Especially having in mind that the next cover was full of color, and then the next cover was the White Album. Well,
No, Sgt. Pepper's. Correct me, Jose. Sgt. Pepper's and Magical Mystery Tour, and then Abbey Road. White Album, of course. Okay. Abbey Road and Let It Be. Yeah.
We have more questions. Any future plans to make a UL730 clone as an actual amp? No.
I have to say something about it.
Really?
Am I talking too much? If I'm talking too much, you let me know, and you guys let me know.
You are talking too much, but I love it.
Normally, I talk too much. So I wanted to say, some of you guys must be like, these people are always talking about the same. What's wrong with them? With the VOX UL730, the Doctor Robert, Revolver. Well, we have other pedals. You should check them out. We started with the Cinnamon Drive, which is I think is really it's
great.
Cool overdrive.
You love it.
I love it. I love it too. The windmiller, and I love also this next pedal we are doing.
There's an upcoming pedal.
It's called the... No, sorry, I cannot say that. But it's...
But if you like
way.
60s music and 60s guitar heroes...
So that's a tip?
Yeah. That's a spoiler. That's a spoiler.
All right.
If you like the 60s, and if you like...
so maybe it's about the Cure?
The Cure?
Yeah.
The 60s?
So
no,
it's not?
It's not about the Cure.
Right, it's not the Cure. The Smiths?
No.
All right.
Almost. No, not almost. It's about the 60s. And if you love guitar heroes...
You don't need to say much. I mean...
I wasn't going
no,
to say
but if you want, feel free.
So it's called... No. Yeah, you'll love it. And
I love it.
We hope to announce the pedal on October.
In October?
Well...
I would do it like next week. Well,
no.
Should we wait so long?
We have to wait because of the pandemic. There's a shortage of, well, this is off topic, but we're going to explain. There's a shortage of components. It's really hard to get, components to be made. And, we are dealing with that, but you're going to love the pedal. Well, you love it.
I do.
And you love the Dr. Robert, so in a statistic way.
I mean, but of course we are talking a lot about the amplifier and Dr. Robert, but it's because today it was supposed to be like this and comparing. I'm kind of...
You were talking about the clone because I think you know someone.
Yeah, and for all you guys that really want to get like the amplifier and you cannot afford like spending this
12,000
ridiculous amount. There is this guy called Steve Walsh. You can check him on, he has a YouTube channel. So also you can find it easily on Facebook. He's on one of these great Facebook groups, the GMI VOX years, and he produces amazing clones of this great amplifier. I mean,
but even aesthetically?
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know that they are not.
So it says VOX.
Not sure about that. I have to say. I think no, there is no VOX logo over there.
Because
but it's
perhaps he might have some.
The shape, the buttons. The everything is like this.
The silk screening and everything.
So yeah, well done, Steve. Yeah.
Thank you. Send your amps. So no, we don't have any plans to make amplifiers at the moment. And well, there's this guy who makes UL clones. You can reach them. You can reach him. Sorry, and he'll make you one. Hopefully. More questions. You're talking too much, Marcel.
Yeah, sorry.
Any plans on making a pedal with valves on it? No. That's
why not?
Well, not today or tomorrow. But that's interesting because on even with the Dr. Robert and the Windmiller, we try to implement tubes inside the pedal, but there's many technical issues with that. And the first one is power consumption. A tube draws like 300 milliamps, or well, 150 if you power it with 12 volts. But even this is really a lot, and you have to have a specific power supply to power this pedal, or a good one with isolated outputs and complicated stuff. And
but there are other examples.
Yes.
Of
there are many examples, and
some of them are not that
not that bad, but they run on higher voltages. They have voltage conversion, complicated stuff. And in the end, when we were designing the Dr. Robert, the FET circuit, the FET circuit, that we used sounded even better than tubes. So it wasn't practical. you know, in a practical point of view, you know, it wasn't necessary. But perhaps in the future, we're gonna implement it. We don't know. We don't know. But yeah, we tried. We tried both on the Dr. Robert and the Windmiller. In fact, the Windmiller, in the beginning, tried to be a very different thing. It tried to be an overdrive pedal, you know, very complicated, and then we simplified the design. So, do you have any recommended settings for the Dr. Robert other than the ones on the manual? Well, that's up to you.
To me?
Yeah. Well, that's your thing.
We've been asked that question lately a little bit, and what I say normally is like, you should try different settings. I mean, it's up to you. On our website, there are some examples, but don't take that as a Bible. Or even though, as I was saying, we spend quite a lot of time like recording those audio clips. And I think it's really accurate to me, the examples on the website, as I was saying. But I would say try, I mean, spend quite a lot of time trying different settings and how do you feel about them, and that's the most important thing, really.
And for me, the key, if your goal is to nail the Beatles tone, is the amp. You know, get a British amp. If it's a box, much better. You know,
you're making a bit of publicity here.
Yeah, well, a box or a box copy, like this one, a JMI.
Well, that's a good copy.
Yeah, or even a matchless DC30 or a Batcat BC. I think it's B30 or BC30. They're almost the same. Or I don't know, a Reverb 30 from Orange, or a Blues Junior, which is cleaner, but it has EL84 tubes, EL84s, yeah. Shall we try a little bit more the pedal?
Why
because
not?
we are talking a lot.
Yeah, maybe too much, but...
So another thing we wanted to show you is that we've compared the VOX UL730 with different amps, but with the pedal engaged. But we didn't show you how the Dr. Robert affected to the amp tone. So we are going to try with different amps, not the VOX UL730, and we are going to engage the Dr. Robert and bypass it, so you can notice the difference. So we're going to start with the VOX, well, the JMI, shall we? Oh, it really, you know, gives a different flavor to the tone of the amp, and it's really versatile. Another thing we haven't told you is that since the unit 1000, we changed a couple of things on the design of the Dr. Robert. You know, to make it more reliable. This doesn't mean that the first version wasn't reliable, but we had to tune. Well, in fact, we had to calibrate the pedal with a couple of trimmers. So we came with a different solution, and then from the unit 1000, The Doctor Robert has no calibration trims. It has a soft touch bypass, right? Even for the bypass and the max shout section. And then we put a gain trimmer inside the pedal for the max shout, right? And that's what we're going to demonstrate now. And for you guys that you have the version 1, you can send us back the pedal and we can modify it, right? There's some fee for that. You can reach us and we'll tell you, right? So
what do you want me to play? More rhythmic, more melodic?
You know, heavy stuff.
Yeah,
Iron Maiden.
so maybe we can try playing something different from other bands, like Zeppelin, who also played with this amplifier.
Yeah, cool,
So-
cool. Well, I don't know if you can see it from here, but those are the EQ trimmers, because on the outside of the pedal we just put the mid knob, but we wanted, you know, we wanted you to be able to really shape the tone as much as you can do with the VOX UL730. And those are the gain, the EQ, bass, and treble trimmers. And this guy here is the gain knob for the.
I don't think they are seeing anything.
No, right. Well, on this position, and just to let you know, the gain trimmer comes, you know, fully clockwise. Sorry. So the maximum gain.
We are playing now only with the Dr. Robert.
Yes, Dr. Robert with JMI.
Max shout.
Well, the max shout. The gain now it's fully clockwise, and I'm gonna turn it down to counterclockwise. When you have the gain knob all the way up, there's not that much difference. But when you use the, you know, on a real situation with, you know, the gain at 1 or 2 o'clock, and then the mids on, you know, 1 or 2 o'clock too, you'll notice a difference. This is fully counterclockwise. Just so that you know. And yeah, those are the EQ trimmers. This is the bass, which they come at noon, both of them.
That was interesting. Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna mess now with the bass trimmer.
Division.
This is fully counterclockwise. Can you play a little bit? And this is the treble trimmer. We are going to start at noon and then down to fully counterclockwise and then to fully clockwise, right? There's a big difference. In fact, the treble knob on the VOX UL730, it also affects to the gain of the overall tone. Yeah. Yeah, they come at noon from our factory, which is one guy assembling pedals and me trying them. So more questions.
I have to say that we are near to finish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would be here like for hours, but our friend Jose has a date with a friend, with a girlfriend, and they are having some wine, maybe some cheese, and with a bit of luck, who knows? So.
All right. So
what else?
Hi from Australia.
Hey, Australia.
I got my Dr. Robert pedal and a couple of weeks ago, and I love it. Thank you. Thanks for making such a great product. Love the backstory too. All the best. Thank you, Steve. Johnny, again, the tone of the 730 Conqueror is solid state. If you want tubes, buy an SE30. Yes and no. Yeah, we agree.
Sorry, what was the question?
He said that the tone of the 730 Conqueror, the 730 and the Conqueror, is solid state. If you want tubes, buy an AC30. Yes, the tone.
But you have tubes here.
Yeah, the tone gets shaped in a solid state preamp, but the distortion, it's from the power stage, I have to say. In fact, we did some tests with the oscilloscope, and technical stuff. Sean Marhon, the presets on the manual, great, by the way. Thank you, Sean. Steve Walsh, sorry chaps, no plans for any more amps. Great show. Oh, so Steve is watching the show.
No plans.
He's not making amps.
That's sad.
Well, that's sad to hear.
No, not in the future. Maybe next year.
Yeah, perhaps in the future. We don't know. Looks like there is a few issues with the audio encoding. Oh, sorry, but sounds okay most of the time. Hi, Steve.
Sorry about that. Hey, Steve, how are you doing?
He's waking up. So, if you have any more questions, write it now, or just don't write it because we're gonna end. Yeah. We're gonna do a final comparison between the VOX UL730 and different amps, right? By the way. The EQ on the amps has been, tweaked to, get the tone as close as we can to the VOX UL730, right? It's not at noon, but we use the same microphone on every amp, which is a Shure SM57. It's a classic, right? And the EQ on the VOX UL730, it's also on the treble, on the bass at noon. Just, to be fair to the pedal. And we've just messed with the middle and the volume. The boost switch, which is kind of a bright switch, similar to a bright switch on a Fender, it's on, right? And, well, just as we did with Dr. Robert. So here we go. This is the UL730. And then we are going to run from the divided by 13 to the Fender to the JMI, right? So, Maestro?
Yeah. What's the volume?
That was all. Thank you very much. Do we have any other comments?
Is that it?
Hit the 730 with more mids and highs. That's where the magic lies. Well, yeah, we can do it. Well, in fact, the mids were at full now. And then treble at full, and then treble full now with the Dr. Robert.
What are we trying now?
So mids, mids fully clockwise, treble fully clockwise, bass at noon, and the same on the Dr. Robert.
Okay.
And then the last part, we're gonna hit the max shout, just to, you know, impress you.
Yeah. And I'm gonna try like the last thing, changing the guitar for a moment just to show you.
Okay, with the Strat. We're gonna try with the Strat.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
Want to try with Strat?
Yes, please.
So, and please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel, please. That will help the channel, and we're going to do more videos.
That will help our families too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jose's girlfriend too.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hope to see you again.
See you. Thank you very much.
See you. Bye.